What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Big T, right here with all of you guys right here today. And this is your AEW Dynamite review and results show for today, Wednesday, December 27, 2023, and welcome to episode number 519 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling podcast here for Wednesday, December 27, 2023. And this is what we got. AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash review and results show. Samoa Joe does business with the devil. This is your AEW World's End 2023 go-home show. We're going to talk about what happened on the show tonight and what I think is going to happen at World's End on Saturday night. So kick back, relax, and we'll get this party started in just a little bit. Stay right here, everybody. AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash review and results show coming up next.
This is the Neon Tarantino, the Ace Degenerate, Super Indie Scorsese, the best professional wrestler in the Midwest, Derek Dillinger, and you're listening to, what is it? Beyond the Ring with Big T. Beyond the Ring with Big T. And that is a wrap. Cut!
This is M-Dog20, Matt Cross. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and you are checking out Beyond the Ring with my man, Big T. Thank you, man. Big T.
Hello, this is EC3 of TNA Wrestling, and you are so very fortunate because you are watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
This is the bad boy Joey Janela, and you're watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
How's it going, everybody? Are you ready to talk about AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash? I sure am, so I hope you guys are too. Welcome to episode number 519 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling podcast here. And this is your AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash review and result show for today, Wednesday, December 27, 2023. I'm your host, Big T. How you guys doing here tonight? So let's see what we got here. Tonight on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash, we had a good triple threat match with Swerve Strickland, Jon Moxley, all those guys involved, Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson. Switchblade was the third guy in the triple threat, by the way. I mean, a lot of good stuff that happened on the show. MJF and Samoa Joe against the Devil's Henchmen for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. I also have the answer as far as to who I think the Devil and his henchmen are. I think it's a rather easy answer, and I'll give you guys all the reasons why when we get to that part of the show a little bit later. And let's see. What's up, Hunter? How you doing? Good to see you here again. Glad to have you here. So welcome, everybody. Don't forget, check out my website, www.beyondtheringwithbigt.com. You can call into the show live on Skype using BigT_119. Follow me on X, which used to be Twitter, Beyond the Ring BT. Facebook at Beyond the Ring with Big T, and Instagram at Beyond the Ring with Big T. All the social media links are there. Don't forget to donate to the show using PayPal. There's a PayPal link at the top of the description of this video and every single video that I do, and the PayPal links at the pinned to the top of the YouTube chat and the Facebook live chat as well. So any of you want to donate, any donation, big or small, would be very much appreciated. It helps keep the show going. So please donate right now. Thank you guys for that. And now that we got everything, let's get into what we have here with AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash 2023. So we got Continental Classic Finals matches taking place, Ring of Honor World Championship match, and so much more. So it's very exciting. We kicked this off here with a great, and I mean a fantastic, triple threat match. Jon Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Switchblade Jay White, and a Continental Classic Gold League final matchup here. Winner of this wins the Gold League and the Continental Classic, advances to the finals at World's End. I know everybody here was pulling for Swerve Strickland. Everybody. I mean, to be honest, you know, was Swerve ready for this? Is it Swerve's time? I think so. With his body of work and everything that he has put in to what he's done lately and the great work that he has done, yeah. You know, I was thinking this could very well be Swerve's time. But anyway, folks, this triple threat match was amazing. It had a lot of great spots, a lot of false finishes, a lot of things that you would want out of a triple threat. Lots of great back and forth action. The match had me on the edge of my seat. Personally, I was thinking that Swerve was going to be the winner, but in the end, it didn't end up that way. At the about 23-minute mark of this match, I was surprised with the result that they gave, because at the end of this, there was an exchange going on, okay? Moxley got in a roll-up, they exchanged some slaps. And Strickland, he launched Moxley into the turnbuckles, but he can't dive off the top turnbuckle because Jay White pushes him. And Moxley somehow is still able to catch Switchblade and nail him with the Death Rider and get the 1-2-3 in the pin and the win. So Jon Moxley ended up winning this wild triple threat match. I mean, you know, Swerve had his close moments in this match. You know, he ended up hitting the house call and things like that, and Moxley, you know, hit a huge King Kong lariat onto Swerve, and Swerve sold it beautifully. I mean, there was some nice spots in this match, really, really nice spots. In the end, Jon Moxley won. And I'm trying to understand why. It's nothing against Jon Moxley, you know, like Hunter wanted Jay White. Me personally, I mean, you can't go wrong with any guy in this match winning. Let me bring that to the forefront. Whoever would have won this match, Switchblade, Moxley, Swerve, any one of them is a great choice to win. But if you're looking at this from a professional standpoint, and you're looking at this from a booking standpoint, and you're looking at this from which wrestler has the momentum, has the hot streak, you know, who would you want, or, you know, who really should get the win and keep that momentum going? I mean, honestly, whether you like the guy or not, I would say Swerve was the guy to win this match for the simple reason, you know, you have him in a feud with Hangman Adam Page. You know, Swerve wins that feud with a couple great matches with Hangman, and Swerve just having quality match after quality match. I mean, this is really the best year in Swerve's career, honestly. And for whatever reason, Swerve had all this momentum. He had everything on his side. The crowd was getting behind him. Everybody is behind Swerve right now. Swerve is white hot. When you have a guy that's white hot, whether you like the guy or you don't like the guy, what's best for your business is to push the hot hand. And I feel like Tony Khan kind of missed the boat on this. Instead, Tony Khan is going for history. Because Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston have history. We'll get into Eddie Kingston, a little bit later. But Tony Khan is rather going for who has history, who has history with each other. We'll make a storyline out of that. And, I get it. It makes sense, okay? It really does. But I just don't know if it's the right call when you have a guy riding the white-hot streak like Swerve is riding right now. Because now you have to look at it and reassess the whole situation here. Swerve didn't get pinned, so we don't have to worry about that. Switchblade was the one to take the loss. So at least Swerve wasn't involved in the pinfall decision. So now what do? How do you get Swerve back on track? Well, you got to put him in a feud with a prominent name, and he's got to win the feud. When you take a look at who can Swerve feud with, honestly, I'm not even kidding, with Swerve being a heel, and if MJF is going to come out of World's End on Saturday night, still being the babyface, and where it turns out he's not the devil, which I don't think MJF's going to be the devil, okay? Because MJF, I believe they're keeping him babyface. If they keep him babyface, I could see Swerve being a heel challenging MJF for the championship. But you have to give Swerve some decent challengers, have him have a few matches back to back, win them, get some momentum back, and then you can put him in the ring with an MJF. Now, when it comes to MJF, I wouldn't pull the trigger on Swerve winning the championship from MJF, but what you can do is showcase Swerve in a really great light. Push MJF to the limit, have MJF win, Swerve stock will rise in a loss at that point. But, that's looking into the future. In the end, Jon Moxley pinned Switchblade with the Death Rider, and that's what we got. Moxley's moving on to the finals at World's End, facing the winner of Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston later on tonight. So, let's see, what does Hunter say here? It sounds like when Wardlow was white hot and they did nothing with him besides dropping the TNT title like 59 times. Yeah. That literally is all Tony Khan did with Wardlow, which still is very disappointing. When you have somebody that is that white hot and you miss the boat on it, you see how detrimental it is to their push, perhaps even their career. And absolutely, I love AEW, but there's questionable decisions going on in the company. But, a great way to start off the show. Great triple threat match. Moxley wins, and now we move on. We get a backstage segment. Swerve is shown backstage. He says that his arm is falling off of his body, and he wanted this so badly. So what does Swerve do? Well, since he's not in the Continental Classic Finals at World's End, Swerve calls out Keith Lee and says, hey, man, I got nothing to do this weekend. And there's a contract ready to sign, so let's make it happen. So now this Swerve Strickland-Keith Lee rivalry is finally going to get all the loose ends tied up at World's End. Obviously, Swerve is going to be Keith Lee. There's no way they're going to have Keith Lee win when Keith Lee... I don't even know... When was the last time Keith Lee had a match on Dynamite? I'm not talking Rampage or Collision. When was the last time Keith Lee had a match on Dynamite? Was it when he faced Chris Jericho, back in the summertime? It's been a long time since we saw a Keith Lee match on Dynamite. So for that reason... and being kept off of television, at least Dynamite television. And when was the last time Keith Lee was even on pay-per-view? It's been a long time for that, too. So you're just bringing him back into the fold. There's no way you're having Keith Lee get a win over Swerve. It's not going to work. No way. Anyway, next segment of the show. Oh, yeah. Hunter, absolutely. Keith Lee is another pro wrestler that AEW, they have fumbled with him. Big time. They've dropped the ball. Next segment of the show. The Don Callis Family Boxing Week Celebration. So what does Don Callis and family have to say here? Well, before we get to Don Callis, couple backstage things here. Mariah May appears with Renee Paquette as she says her debut is going to be next week on the first AEW Dynamite of the new year because 2024 is all about Mariah. Riho then appears and chases Mariah May down to the ring. Toni Storm, of course, pops up and tries to help Mariah, but it ends with Riho hitting a diving crossbody to the outside, which takes out Toni Storm and Luther. Top Flight and Action Andretti are then shown backstage and say they're just getting started. They get ready to throw out a challenge, but Orange Cassidy pops up with Trent and Rocky Romero and says, "We'll see you guys on Friday." A vignette is shown for Miro as he talks about being ready to kill everyone as he wants to fight Andrade, not because he's his wife's client, but because he's an asshole. A match between them is booked for World's End. And that was Miro's exact quote. So we got Andrade and Miro at World's End. Don Callis brings his family to the ring. Don Callis gets on the microphone and talks about how it has been a difficult 2 weeks for him, but he couldn't have gotten through it without his family, the Don Callis family. So what did Don Callis do? He got his family some gifts to celebrate Boxing Week, which is different paintings with Don Callis and each member of the Don Callis family. Sammy Guevara makes his return and says, "Long time no talk." Callis says, "Well, Sammy, I got a painting for you." So they unveil a new painting. Sammy asks, he's like, "Don, who the hell told you to put my baby in the painting?" Sammy's like, "You know what, Don, you make everything about you. And I never got a message from you, about, Don Callis is like, "Sammy, I never got a message from you about being concussed." Don Callis then goes on to say he's disappointed in Sammy and he could choose the other family, meaning his own with his wife, Ty Mello, and his baby. Or he could choose Don Callis' family. Callis says that, Sammy should be smart or he will be as big of a disappointment as a father as he is a wrestler. And right there at that point, Sammy's had enough. You talk about his family, his child. Sammy pushes Callis to the ground, but the rest of the Don Callis family jumps Sammy until Chris Jericho makes the save. They hug it out, Sammy and Jericho. But next thing, Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, they jump Jericho and Guevara. The lights then turn off and we got Sting and Darby Allin return as they help fight away Ricky Starks and Big Bill. So that was just, a bunch of everything. So a match was signed for World's End. Ricky Starks, Big Bill, I believe it was Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs, Don Callis family, against Jericho, Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin in an 8-man tag. Now, since Kenny Omega is out indefinitely with diverticulitis, and Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho were the next in line for the AEW World Tag Title match, could this mean that Sammy Guevara is going to step in as Jericho's partner. Les Sex Gods are going to reunite. And will Jericho and Guevara get the shot against Ricky Starks and Big Bill? And also, will Jericho and Guevara beat Ricky Starks and Big Bill? If that were to happen, I think they would, and I think they will. Now, the whole thing is Ricky Starks and Big Bill, are they now members of the Don Callis family? Are you basically adding a 2-for-1? You're getting rid of Guevara, but you're adding Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Because honestly, let's face it, since Ricky Starks and Big Bill have beaten FTR to win the AEW World Tag Team titles, what have Ricky Starks and Big Bill done with the titles? They've done nothing. Ricky Starks and Big Bill have been basically non-existent. So, by putting them in the Don Callis family has also been pretty much non-existent on television. And, working on Rampage and things like that. So maybe put Ricky Starks and Big Bill officially with the Don Callis family and get the Don Callis family back on television, and there's your heel faction. Simple booking. But we'll see what Tony Khan does with that. That's just my take on it. So, Hunter, your birthday's next week, so happy birthday to you. And Jordan, happy birthday to your niece. Welcome, guys. Hope you're having fun. Now, what's next? We have the Continental Classic Blue League Finals. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson going one-on-one against Eddie Kingston. So, this match was great. It really was. Danielson and Kingston, they tore it down. They tore it down in the ring, honestly. I thought Danielson was going to have Kingston here, many times in this match. I'm very shocked that Eddie Kingston stood up with Danielson the way that he did, but man, what a match these guys had. Kingston, there were so many false finishes, like Eddie Kingston with the Northern Lights bomb, and Danielson catching Kingston with the Busaiku knee, and, actually, Kingston kicked out of 2 Busaiku knees, which, that was unbelievable. And at the end of this thing, Kingston, he flipped Danielson the bird. He flipped him off. And when Danielson went for the Busaiku knee, Kingston was able to hit Danielson with the Huracan, and Kingston hit another 2 of them, and then he powerbombed Danielson and got the 1-2-3 and the pin and the win, earning the victory. So your winner of the Blue League Finals of the Continental Classic turned out to be Eddie Kingston, which is a shock. I never would have thought that Eddie Kingston would beat Bryan Danielson. I figured since they went with Moxley, I thought we were going to have Moxley and Danielson. I really did. But boy, oh boy, color me surprised. Eddie Kingston got the win. So is this the way of maybe having Eddie Kingston even beat Jon Moxley? Was this Continental Classic tournament basically made up in the way that it was and constructed the way that it was to have Eddie Kingston beat these big name stars to solidify him as Ring of Honor World Champion? To solidify him as a world champion, to really, kind of push him as a world champion. Because, if that's what they're doing, it's working. It's working. It actually is working. So now, this match was great. I highly recommend. If there's 2 things that you watch back from this show, okay, it's the 2 the Continental Classic Tournament Finals matches for the Gold and Blue League. The Triple Threat match and the Danielson-Kingston match, both amazing matches. Eddie Kingston wins. After this match took place, Jon Moxley came down. He checked on Bryan Danielson, of course, his fellow Blackpool Combat Club member. And then he tells him that every time he stuck his neck out for Eddie Kingston, all he's ever asked for is his best. Eddie Kingston says, for someone who thinks the world is against him, he has a lot of people who love him. And this is Moxley going back and forth with Kingston, by the way. Moxley then says he knows Eddie Kingston better than Eddie Kingston even knows himself. And Moxley says he knows he could beat him. So in his money, Eddie Kingston has already lost and given up. As he says last time, he let him have a warrior death. But this time, he will have to earn every inch of it. Eddie Kingston gets the microphone after Moxley has his say. Eddie Kingston speaks and reminds Moxley he broke in first and is lucky he lets him breathe. Eddie Kingston says on Saturday, the king of the bums will push him. As he says, when he wanted to quit AEW, Moxley would not let him as he needed him around to shape the younger guys. And Kingston says he's going to show Mox his fighting spirit on Saturday night at World's End. Great face-to-face and promo from these two guys. I like how Eddie Kingston even said the king of the bums will push Moxley, because if you remember the cardboard sign, a couple weeks back when Danielson beat Kingston and someone had a sign in the crowd, they wrote with black magic marker on it that said Eddie is a bum. Danielson took that sign from the crowd, he took it and he threw it on top of Eddie Kingston, basically telling him he's a bum. So I like how Eddie Kingston incorporated that into here. It's a nice little touch. It makes Kingston look like even more of that underdog fighter. I mean, this is all shaping up to be, I think now that Eddie Kingston has the World Championship of Ring of Honor and the New Japan Strong Championship, he's got those two belts. I think this is going to be Moxley's way of putting over one of his best friends, for years. So, we'll see, but that's just my assumption. Next up, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland come face to face. So, first here, Lexi Nair is backstage, interviewing with Christian Cage. Nick Wayne and his mother, what's her name? Is it Shayna Wayne or something like that? But Nick Wayne and his mother are back there with Christian Cage. But when Adam Copeland shows up, Copeland starts brawling with everyone as he targets his former friend, Christian Cage. They brawl into the corridor until a variety of AEW wrestlers turn up and they pull them apart. Just a little taste. Just that little taste to get you guys wanting more till that no disqualification match happens at World's End. Chris Statlander against Sky Blue. We know Sky Blue has that new gothic personality. She's teamed up with Julia Hart and whatever. I mean, you guys know how I feel about the women's matches in AEW. I mean, they used to have some great women's wrestling, and now their women's wrestling is it's fallen flat. It's fallen off the map. You don't have those classics like you used to have. I don't know what Tony Khan is doing as far as booking the women's division, but I mean, it's so repetitive with Tony Khan's booking, with the fact of, oh, it's 9:30, let's throw on a women's match. Or, oh, it's 9:30, let's throw on a women's match, but also let's only make that women's match, 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, if this is how you are going to continue to treat your women performers, how do you expect AEW's women's division to get any recognition, because it's not. The women's division in AEW is not going to get recognition or get any better or get any attention from anybody unless you start making it better. That's a problem here. I don't know what you guys think, but I see that as a glaring problem. And this match here, was nothing special at all. I mean, Sky Blue hit the thrust kick in the Code Blue. Statlander kicked out of that because this is Sky Blue against Chris Statlander. So Statlander showed some heart, responded with the power bomb, and, then they brawled and whatnot. And next thing you know, there was a distraction of the referee while Julia Hart appears and distracts Statlander. Sky Blue then hit another Code Blue hit a Code Blue this time from the top turnbuckle on Statlander to get the 1-2-3 and the pin and the win. Your winner is Sky Blue. Now after the match, Sky Blue attacks Chris Statlander as she then holds her up so Julia Hart can hit a running back elbow. Willow Nightingale then makes a run to the ring and she takes them down and makes them run away. So obviously, I'm assuming this could be for Collision or Rampage. We're probably going to see Julia Hart and Sky Blue against Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. And I mean, even Chris Statlander, look at her. She beat the undefeated Jade Cargill. Statlander has an incredible feat here. But here's the problem. Statlander now, distraction from the referee or not, let's call it like we see it. It's a joke. Statlander losing to Sky Blue. I don't understand the booking here. Julia Hart being the TBS champion, I get it, but does her henchwoman really need to win too? I was just kind of lost. After this, we continue with a women's backstage segment. Ruby Soho and Saraya are shown backstage, and Saraya says she got Ruby Soho something helpful. What did she get her? Well, it's Harley Cameron. And Harley Cameron says she will do anything Ruby Soho wants. Great. Another stupid storyline that's going to make no sense. Why does Harley Cameron need to be following around Ruby Soho? How is this going to be beneficial to Ruby Soho or Harley Cameron? How is this going to be beneficial to the women's division? See, these are the questions I ask myself. It's a big logic gap. This is not helping women's wrestling in AEW. That's probably a big reason why Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, pulled out of contract talks with AEW because she sees the illogical booking that is going on within the women's division. Period. That's just how it is. Like Hunter says, when he's busy, he usually DVRs Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision. And he usually fast forwards through the women's matches. He's not trying to be sexist, of course, but why would he care about something that's half booked? See, that's how I'm feeling about the women's matches. And hey, that's the fine line everybody's got to be careful with. Just because I am saying something negative about the women's booking and the women's matches in AEW, I'm not being sexist, at all. Just like Hunter's saying even with his point, that he's not being sexist. I'm not being sexist at all either. The whole thing is, why are the men's matches shining for the most part, and why are the women's matches they've fallen so far backwards that honestly you could have the women's matches on, even the dark matches are on pre-show matches, and they wouldn't feel important. It's the same thing with WWE, to be honest. Not just AEW. WWE's women's division's guilty of it too. I mean, I was at Raw in Cleveland, Ohio 2 weeks ago. What's the women's match we got over there? We had Maxine Dupree against Rhea Ripley. And we had Becky Lynch call out Nia Jax. If you look at that one segment and you look at that one match, I mean, realistically, who cared about any of it? You know, WWE is guilty of the same thing that AEW is guilty of. They're both booking their women's divisions very poorly and very dreadfully. You're not seeing women's classics no more. We were at one point, but now in either company we're not anymore. I don't know what's happened. But the booking in both companies, AEW and WWE, with the women's division is like the worst it's ever been. I mean, at this point, and again, it's not being sexist, but if this is how both professional wrestling companies want to book their women's divisions, then why don't they just get rid of them? Because obviously they don't care about the divisions. And if you're going to keep the divisions, start putting more care into it and give people matches that they would actually want to see instead of using them for bathroom break matches. Look at Impact Wrestling's women's matches. Look at Trinity, who used to be Naomi in WWE. You know, look at the classic matches that she had with, like, what was it, Mickie James. Who else did she face? Did she face Deonna Purrazzo? Impact is having women's classics. You know, the main event of Slammiversary was a women's match. Hold on, I'm gonna search this just so I get this right. Impact Slammiversary 2023. Gonna look this up here, because I mean it was an amazing women's match. Yeah, it was Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo. They main evented, you know, or co-main evented. I'm sorry, they co-main evented one of the biggest Impact pay-per-views of the year, and they had a 15-minute match, and it was awesome. It was an awesome match. So, I mean, when you look at other companies putting care into their women's division, even in New Japan Pro Wrestling, you know, look at the classics Mercedes Moné had with Kairi Sane earlier in the year. Why are other companies thriving in women's wrestling, and then you have what they call the two biggest companies in the world are neglecting their women's wrestling, and it's taking a big step backwards? That's where I'm lost. But anyway, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, guys. So, going through all that, we're left with one thing left on this show. And yes, it's the main event of the evening here. And it's a Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship matchup. We got MJF and Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, defending their titles against the Devil's Goons. We have no idea who they are. Okay, but I'll mention what I think after I read through this. So, I will not read through it. Give you my thoughts, I should say. Give you my thoughts. Because I have no notes I'm reading. I'm going through just my photographic memory, to be honest with you, if you really want to know. So, the main event of the show was set. When Samoa Joe's music hit, you know, he was nowhere to be seen. Then he's shown backstage as he's been attacked, obviously by the Devil's henchmen. Now, despite that, MJF says he will defend the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles alone. So MJF makes his entrance, comes down to the ring. He immediately attacks one of the masked men, stomping away on him in the corner. And then he launched him in the corner. MJF right away tried to unmask the guy But then you got the other masked man. He yanks him onto the top rope to stop it. MJF manages to send one of the men outside of the ring, okay, as he sends them into the steel stairs in the ring post. Now, the referee's distracted, so of course, a third masked man appears and he clocks MJF from behind with a metal pipe. Now, one of the men, not knowing who they are, hits the heat seeker on MJF. Then the guy's partner helps put his other partner's feet on the ropes when he covers MJF to get the 1, 2, 3, the pin in the win to win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. So your winner and new Ring of Honor World Tag Team champions, the Devil's Masked Men. So post-match, and right after this match, now we have a whole group of masked individuals. 4 of them to be exact. They jump MJF until Samoa Joe heads down to the ring. The Devil then appears on the Titantron. Doesn't say a word. But the Devil fades off the screen. And then boom. Message pops up that says, "It's a pleasure doing business with you." End quote. MJF's looking at this like, what? What does this mean? What does this mean? Meanwhile, Samoa Joe is standing back there because, during this beatdown, Samoa Joe headed down to the ring with a steel chair acting like he was hurt, right? So Samoa Joe was standing in the ring with MJF, helped him up, holding the steel chair. That's when the Devil and his message came on the Titantron. Samoa Joe, as soon as you see "it's a pleasure doing business with you" and MJF's looking up at that, Samoa Joe's facial expression just goes from standing alongside him to this angry expression, and his head tilts I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Next thing you know, Samoa Joe uses the chair, hits MJF right in the back with it. When MJF's down on the ground, Joe hits him in the back with it again. And, just attacking MJF. And Joe has no problem showing off. There's nothing wrong with him. He's walking around the ring normal, so he was faking that hurt leg injury the whole time. And then Joe, when he has MJF in the corner before he puts him on the top turnbuckle for a muscle buster, Joe grabs MJF on both sides of his face and he looks at him and he yells at him, "I did this to you." And then Joe puts MJF up on the top turnbuckle and then hits him with a muscle buster. And then Joe takes MJF's AEW World Championship belt, holds it high above his head, puts his foot on MJF's chest, and stands over him, raising his title in the air as the show goes off the air. I was like, wow. So Samoa Joe is working for the Devil. Obviously, he's not the leader because the Devil put in his message, "It's been a pleasure doing business with you." So now when you ask yourself, what's going on with the Devil? Well, this is how I think it's going to go. Honestly, I don't see this being anybody else but these guys. What I think is going to happen, the Kingdom, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and then you're going to have Adam Cole. They're going to be the Devil and their henchmen. Obviously. The Devil and the Devil's henchmen. It's going to be those guys. It's the only ones that I could see it being. And if there's 4 guys to this, which I believe there was 4 in total, plus Joe, because Joe came out and basically identified himself as one of them. Is Jungle Boy one of the guys, or Jack Perry one of the guys that's been rumored? Some people rumored that Luchasaurus was the big guy. Some people rumored that Wardlow was going to be the bigger guy. And you just got to try to think who would be against MJF here in this situation? Well, definitely the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Roderick Strong, okay, is going to be the other guy. That's 3. And then I think the 4th guy is going to be Adam Cole. The 4 of them are the masterminds behind this whole thing. That's just the way I see it. I don't see it any other way, you know. I'm really excited for World's End on Saturday, Micah, for sure. But yeah, this is what I see. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett. You know, all those guys are going to be the ones that are going to be behind this whole devil thing, which will lead to Adam Cole, you know, getting a world title match against MJF eventually, because I think MJF will walk out the champ. I really do. And if you go back and think about this too, why I think the actual devil is Adam Cole is because think about this. When Adam Cole ran down to the ring, jumped off the stage, and hurt his ankle, what started this whole thing of Adam Cole being out with his injured ankle, who was MJF fighting at the moment? He was wrestling Samoa Joe in a world title match at the time that happened, at Grand Slam. And that happened to Adam Cole. So if you look at that, they were working together back then. They really were. You know, it just makes too much sense. You know, Adam Cole being the good guy to have MJF get his guard down so he can, you know, be the bad guy and pay MJF back and get in his head and take his title. I can see Adam Cole doing that because Adam Cole has played heel before and has done it very well. So why couldn't Adam Cole do it now? You see what I mean, guys? It all makes sense. It's got to be these 4 guys. I don't see it being anybody else. It's got to be these 4 that I named. And Joe, Samoa Joe, is obviously a guy there to soften up MJF, to, you know, put him through hell and whatnot, which he's done. But I think this is going to lead to Adam Cole and MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It's got to. Because I just don't see MJF losing. Unless MJF's, what does he have, a torn labrum or something like that, I believe? If his labrum is that bad and he can't continue wrestling and needs surgery, then yeah, he's going to lose. But Adam Cole would have to be the guy to do it to him, and Adam Cole would somehow have to become champion. I mean, it just seems like that's the way this is going to go. So let me know what you guys think. Because I put a lot of thought into this, and that's what I'm thinking. That's what I feel. It just seems like it's the only thing it can be. Really. It doesn't seem like there's anything else this could be or who it can be. It's got to be these guys. That's got to be your 4 guys. But that's my take on it. Let me know what your guys' take on it is. But it's the hottest storyline in AEW. It's exciting as ever. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen at World's End on Saturday night, because I'm assuming that's when we're going to get the reveal and this whole storyline's going to come to a head. As far as Adam Cole's injury, I think now that Joe revealed himself as working with the devil, I think that it's going to be revealed that Adam Cole's injury might have been a work the whole time, just so MJF could go through all this like it's been a long, drawn-out strategic process by Adam Cole. You know, this can make Adam Cole just an evil, manipulative mastermind. And maybe that's what they're going to try to portray here. Because everybody was thinking MJF. Well, it's not looking like MJF anymore. I really think it's Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Adam Cole, along with Samoa Joe as a pawn in their game. But let me know what you guys are thinking. But that's my take. But it was a great show tonight, except for the women's match. I mean, the show was awesome. You know, the Continental Classic Finals matches were amazing. nothing bad here. Nothing bad at all. It was a very enjoyable show. So at the end of all of this, I'm going to say, guys, my rating on a scale of 1 to 10 for AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash 2023 for Wednesday, December 27, 2023. I'm going to go ahead and give this show the old 10 out of 10 plus. And the 2 thumbs up at the Big T seal of approval. Can't wait for World's End on Saturday night. Whether I'll be here covering it or not, I don't really know. But wanted to come on here and get this Dynamite New Year's Smash review out. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. So Merry Christmas to all of you. New Year's is coming up. 2023 is over. We'll be going into 2024, and that might be the next time I see you. If it is, Happy New Year, everybody. And, yeah, what a year, huh? But we'll see what happens. You could be right. You could be right, Hunter. Adam Cole's also changed his look slightly with the longer hair and beard. Could be teasing a heel turn with a slight look change. That's also very possible. We'll keep our eye on it. We should find out Saturday night at World's End. But yeah, there you go, guys. So that's going to do it for me here, everybody. I will see you guys next time. And yes, there will be a next time for me right here on Beyond the Ring with Big T. That'll be for possibly a World's End review, or maybe Monday Night Raw next week. After New Year, the Monday Night Raw Day 1 special. We'll see what happens. I'll figure out what I'm going to do. But, yeah, don't forget us and we won't forget you. And, of course, if you want the best, and yes, I do mean the absolute best for all of your professional wrestling needs right here on the internet, right here on YouTube.com today. Always remember to think Beyond the Ring with Big T. And, of course, everybody, thank you very much for watching and listening to episode number 519 of the Beyond the Ring with Big T Elite Wrestling podcast here for today, Wednesday, December 27th, 2023, and this has been your AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash 2023 review and results show. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Feels good to be back on here, and feels good to talk to you guys again and break down a show. Alright, guys, so of course, as always, everybody, always remember and never ever forget that I'm your host, Big T, and I will see all of you at the matches, and I'll see all of you guys. If I don't see you for World's End on Saturday, I'll see you guys next year for some more great wrestling reviews. So, stay safe, stay healthy, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, take care, everybody, I love you all, good night, and Happy New Year, everybody. Ha 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 ha.
This is the Neon Tarantino, the Ace Degenerate, Super Indie Scorsese, the best professional wrestler in the Midwest, Derek Dillinger. And you're listening to, what is it? Beyond the Ring with Big T. Beyond the Ring with Big T. And that is a wrap. Cut!
This is M-Dog 20, Matt Cross. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and you were checking out Beyond the Ring with my man, Big T. Thank you, man. Big T.
Hello, this is EC3 of TNA Wrestling, and you are so very fortunate because you are watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.
This is the bad boy Joey Janela, and you're watching Beyond the Ring with Big T.